Please stand for a moment of silence and pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Joe, I'm sorry, Jay, roll call, please.
Mrs. Cynthia?
Here.
Mr. Diver? Mrs. King?
Here.
Mr. Schuler?
Here.
Mr. Tinkin?
Here.
Mr. Borbach?
Here.
Mayor Mechanico?
Here. Please read the Open Public Meeting Act.
Yes, pursuant to the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was included in our annual meeting notice, which has been published, posted on the bulletin board here in the municipal building, and provided to all those requesting notice and providing payment in accordance with borough policy.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve the agenda. I think we have to add the revised resolution, R 2013-32, Jay.
Yes, Mayor. That is the bill list, which has been revised to remove the item that is noted on page 5, and the totals, subtotals, and final total have been revised to reflect that deletion of $2,595.
And we're also revising for Chris's recreation thing too, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and that will be 33?
That would be actually 34.
Oh, 34?
Now, do we need a motion for the revised?
I'll make that motion.
Second? Second. And roll call.
Mrs. Cynthia?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin?
Yes.
Mr. Borbach?
Yes. Thank you. No presentations at this time. There's no scheduled public hearings. This time, the first voice of the public will be opened, and you may speak on agenda items only. If anyone would like to speak on agenda item only, just step forward, give your name and address.
Bill, it's a question really.
Okay.
Sharon Gatto, Beverly Avenue, Spring Lake Heights. Item number 10, which ordinances is in new business? If you don't have any.
There's no ordinance.
It says ordinance introductions.
There's none scheduled for tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? No? Well, I close the first voice of the public. Discussion items. We have the local flood damage prevention ordinance, adoption of the advisory base flood elevation maps.
And Mayor, you'll recall that we had a presentation at our last meeting. Borough Engineer Joe May was present. At that time, I think it was indicated that the advisory-based flood elevation maps were still in somewhat of a state of flux, because it was only the day before, or the Friday before our last meeting, that the governor had announced that at the state level the maps were being adopted. There has been subsequently some clarification of that the maps have been adopted for state permits, but it is still required that the municipalities adopt the maps, or it is recommended that the municipalities adopt the maps as being the best available information. The information that has been distributed tonight includes the letter from the Department of Community Affairs regarding the adoption of these maps, as well as a draft, or it's actually labeled as the model flood prevention ordinance, and the changes from the current flood prevention ordinance are highlighted. We would have to modify this to reflect our particular map panels and references to Spring Lake Heights. But it is something that is being recommended, you can see from the letter from the state. Along these same lines, it is our intent, or my recommendation, that we hold a public session for not only information on the base flood elevation maps, but also on changes that have either already taken place or will take place to the flood insurance program. And then the further aspect of public information that we wanted to get out is the availability of mitigation grants that the borough intends to apply for on behalf of residents that are impacted in the flood zone. And we are required to submit a letter of intent near the end of March for our projects that we intend to submit for application under the mitigation grant. It again is my recommendation that we hold a public session for the council, the planning board, zoning board, environmental committee, as well as property owners that are in the flood zone, that we can present all this information. There are significant issues related to the flood maps and how that impacts our local zoning regulations, most particularly the building height. You will recall that last fall, pre-Sandy, we actually adopted an ordinance changing our flood heights, or our building heights in the flood zone, particularly for property owners that were looking to elevate their homes. Where previously we had one property owner that was moving ahead with that process, based on informal discussions I've had with property owners, primarily along Shore Road. There are a number of property owners that are also considering that. And we may also want to consider, there will be funds available in post-Sandy mitigation for acquisition of properties, and some property owners have expressed an interest in pursuing that. So there are a lot of issues that are out there. Some of it is still somewhat fluid. Every day you read the paper and you'll see that there are new announcements. Just last week, Governor Christie was in Seeger, where he announced additional sources of funding for individual homeowners to facilitate improving their properties, primarily, again, for elevating homes to get them out of the floodway.
Can I ask you, as far as is there going to be notification before any vote on this floodplain becomes, up to the dais? Are we going to have notification to the homeowners along the flood area that are actually affected by letter or mail or a certified letter?
Well, it would certainly be, again, my suggestion that we defer any formal action on this flood ordinance until such time as we hold the presentation on all of the related flood issues. Again, and I know we've had this discussion before, there is a requirement because our floodplain rules are included in our development ordinance that these would be formally referred to the planning board for a review by the planning board, and that takes place between introduction and adoption, but before the council would hold a formal public hearing. If you're suggesting that we provide that notification, again, I would then suggest that we not take any action on this proposed ordinance until we have that public session, which it is our intent to provide public notice as well as individual notice to property owners, not via certified mail, but at least advising them of a date that we would have a presentation of all of these flood-related issues.
Now, is there any way also that we can, in some way, I mean, I know the planning board has the ultimate say on this type of thing, but in the flood zone areas to possibly raise the height of the house, like I think Manasquan has recently done, to 38 feet so that they can have maybe a garage area and storage area that wasn't going to affect the living area on the bottom, just in the flood zone area. I'm not talking all around town, but
yes, there are, and notwithstanding your comments, ultimately it is the council that makes the decision on what the ordinance would require. But any change in the height requirements, whether they apply throughout the town or just to homes in flood zones, would require an ordinance change that would be referred to the planning board for their input. But ultimately, it would come back to the council, and the council has the final say. And I believe during the presentation at our last meeting, the engineer indicated that it was certainly his recommendation that there be that issue of building height be revisited, whether it would be for the entire community or just those homes and properties located in one of our flood zones.
Okay, Jay, would this be included in a regular session or should we hold a special session?
I would suggest, Mayor, that we probably do a special session, and I know we have another issue of a public session that may be either at a regular meeting or at a special meeting. So perhaps we could defer a determination as to when we would schedule this flood session until later in the meeting when you have that other discussion as well.
Okay, thank you. Right, and anyone
And I should also mention that The flood session, we anticipate at least 2 weeks lead time, not only to provide notice to property owners, but we will also be including representatives from FEMA, and they've asked for as much lead time as possible to schedule a representative or two here to answer questions.
And then how soon before the meeting are the residents going to be notified?
I would like to do it at least a week in advance.
I'd like 2 weeks, but.
Well, perhaps if we can agree on a meeting date tonight, we can provide the 2 weeks.
Next item would be the Board of Health. See that we were going back and forth. We weren't just investigating whether to go to the county or keep it as a local.
And I can comment on that. At previous meetings, the council had indicated a desire to possibly disband the local Board of Health and to have the mayor and council serve in that capacity. I did have the opportunity to have further discussions with county representatives about that proposal, and apparently it appears that unless you are what's considered to be a Faulkner Act municipality or a township committee form of government, that the borough form of government, which we are, does not have the ability just to disband the Board of Health unless the municipality chooses to go with the county. If we relegate the responsibilities to the county Board of Health and we have a proposal from the county that's in the packages here, then we can basically disband the local Board of Health.
But we give up our right to vote.
Yes, because they would then adopt ordinances dealing with everything health-oriented. And the proposal, as you'll see in your packets, that was sent over to us to join the County Board of Health is for about $61,000 and change. Right now, you currently are party to an agreement with the Monmouth County Regional Health Commission #1, and they basically provide the same types of services that the County Board of Health would provide to the borough. And my understanding is that the cost that we're currently incurring with the Monmouth County Regional Health Commission #1 is approximately $40,000.
$45,000.
That agreement goes until the end of August of 2013, and in our current agreement, it says that if one of the constituent municipalities, which we are one, chooses to withdraw, we are required to provide 6 months advance notice, and we are in time to pull out of that agreement. But the question is, why would we do that when we're paying significantly less to be with this commission than we would to go with the county? So it appears that based upon, and we just got this quote from the county yesterday, we didn't know what the figure was that they were going to come in at, but when we saw what the number was, clearly it appears more cost advantageous to stick with what we currently have.
Never give up your right to vote.
So I don't think there's any, go ahead.
Is that the figure going forward too, after August, 44,000?
Frankly, the process for the Monmouth Regional Health Commission is that we have a representative on their board, and they set their rates each year based on their budget and as well as which communities come and go from their system. So there is no guarantee that the price would be higher or lower or the same for the after the current year. But again, we have the option every year to review that. And but I will tell you that from looking at the communities that are that comprise the Monmouth Regional Health System, there is an ownership stake involved there. So the Board of Commissioners have they're obviously very cost conscious and have an interest in maintaining those costs as low as possible. So, and we do have a voice there, which we would not have in the event that we went to the county.
That's okay. Good.
So in the end, though, that would mean it comes back to the council to appoint members to our local board, and I believe that there were some vacancies. So we're going to have to give that some consideration and move some names forward.
Well, I do remember when I had looked at one, I believe Councilwoman Crippen at the time had sent me a Board of Health budget increases, which were, just, as far as the different raises and everything that were given to everybody, it was quite substantial. So I would like to at least have a vote to be able to say, no, we're not for this, and have a voice on that, rather than just hand it over to the Monmouth County.
Thank you.
Okay, so perhaps Mayor, since it would be an appointment that the Mayor nominates with the advice and consent of the council, we could look to potentially fill those vacancies at an upcoming meeting.
We need 2 candidates, the chairman and the member. Okay, so that's something we'll have to work on. Thank you.
With regard to the renewal, Jay, I don't know if it's appropriate to reach out to the Monmouth County Health Commission #1 to see if you can get something from them indicating what their proposal would be moving forward. I'm sure it still would be more cost effective to the borough to stick with that as opposed to going to the county. But
Will do.
Okay. Anything else on that? Thank you. Council and mayor reports. The only report I have is we've been going back and forth about the rezoning ordinance. One time we were going to form an ad hoc committee, but I had some advice from council and decided that would not be the best way to go, or statutorily not the best way to go. So my recommendation is we're going to hold a special session with full council input. The council has a wide latitude as far as ordinance goes, and it will be the final say of any zoning change. So we will have a full input from the council and also the public. So we would hold a special session just on the rezoning. Yeah, but we have to come up
Possible
with
rezoning.
possible rezoning, whatever you like, whatever wording you like to say. Some solution, let's put it that way. That would be satisfactory to the council and to the public.
Most importantly to the public.
Mayor, were you thinking a couple weeks out or 2 or 3 weeks out?
Whatever date we can come up, Tom,
Okay, I was thinking,
when everyone's available.
May I suggest that,
On a regular meeting.
I hear the suggestion that perhaps a regular meeting night. And I provided to the council a calendar that shows both our meeting dates as well as planning, zoning, environmental committee meeting dates for the rest of this month and into next month. Again, given what has been previously suggested in terms of public notification, I would suggest at least 2 weeks to give us the opportunity to send notices in a sufficient time so residents have the opportunity to schedule it themselves. And it could certainly be a regular meeting, perhaps, our meeting on the 25th.
That would be, if everyone
I
agrees
put-
to
I
a
put-
regular meeting,
yeah.
that would be fine. That would be fine.
sounds good to me.
Do we want to start early?
That gives you enough time to notice the public.
How about March? Beginning of March?
Well, again, I distributed a calendar. There's also a potential concern that depending on how many people actually attend, whether this room would be sufficient size, in which case we would have to attempt to utilize perhaps the school facility, but
Well, March 11th.
March 11th would be two meetings out.
again, that's certainly doable. I would ask for not less than 2 weeks lead time to provide notice. And
All right, I'll make a motion for March 11th.
I would like it to be the later the more, only because people might be seasonal residents. So if they're seasonal residents, I'd like them to be notified and have the ability to show.
Would we be able to advertise and have residents kind of indicate if they're coming so that if we do need a bigger facility, Jay has time to maybe move us to
Good question,
the
Chris.
school?
Good question.
And I know you're talking about doing it on the night of a regular meeting, and that we all have commitments, but maybe we ought to consider just setting this aside for a separate night. It's within your discretion to decide whether you want to do it on the night when you have other regular business to attend to, but it might be advantageous to think about picking an off night where you can just concentrate on this. But that's at your discretion.
Well, as far as notification of the residents, I don't think the majority of the residents know when we have general meetings and when they don't. This is,
Okay.
a few of the people that come at me all the time, you realize that we have meetings second and the fourth, but I don't think the general public realizes that. I would just like to make certain exactly who are we notifying? Are we notifying everybody in town, which is what I would prefer, everybody to be notified? Or are we just notifying 200 feet
well,
type of a thing?
if you want to jump into the notification issue before or you want to come back to the date, on the reverse of the calendar, I've provided a highlighted map area of what I would consider to be those immediately impacted.
No, I don't think that's sufficient. I mean, I think that what we need to do is have a representative of town. This is something that affects the entire town's welfare. And whether or not somebody, I mean, people drive by that area all the time. And I know I've gotten castigated by folks that because I said that area needs help. I do believe that area needs help. Is it gonna be my help? I don't know about that. It's just, or the landlord needs to help it a little bit better. So whether or not I'm gonna vote for changing the zoning, I don't know yet, but I would like more representative of the entire town, not just the folks around it that are directly affected, but the whole town that is going to be directly affected by anything, more development, commercial. Maybe somebody does want to see a town center. You know,
Possible to
maybe
put it-
somebody does want.
Well, let me ask you this, Jake. You send out, this is the requirement.
Well, the
Well,
requirement
this
is
is,
actually
this is a little
less
bit larger than the requirement. But,
It's gonna cost $1,000 to do a mailing to the entire town.
but the thing of it is
$1,000.
if you send out to this
Why is it even
area,
a question?
Excuse me. One person. Sarah has the floor.
if you're sending out to this area that you've highlighted, and then it is publicly announced in the newspaper and put on the bulletin
What
board that
newspaper?
Sarah has the floor.
Wait, you're taking the chance that somebody's gonna read it.
Excuse me, Patty. Sarah has the floor.
I can speak.
You can wait for Sarah to finish.
I don't know, I don't think it's necessary to, and, you know, where are we gonna put everybody? You know, I mean, and some people are not gonna be, around, they're gonna be snowbirds, a lot of people in the Muse and stuff like that. But I think the big impact is the people that live right here, where you've had it highlighted. And then if other people wanna come, I don't see why we can't just put out a notice in the paper and put a notice on our new sign in front of the school saying that, you know, this meeting is gonna take place. These are the people that it's gonna affect the most. We certainly don't wanna discount anybody in town, but to do a mailing for the whole town, I think that that's ridiculous.
Oh, no, we don't have it.
I think the whole,
Okay,
all
good.
of, I would like to say that all of the residents are gonna be affected by the traffic on 71. All of the residents are gonna be, have a say in whether or not, you know, they want a large-scale commercial property going on, or whether or not they want something smaller. And, you know, we could do, you know, possibly we could do something mixed use. I mean, there were a lot of different plans. I was on the planning board for 1 year, and there were a few different plans that came up to me that I really liked. And I thought that maybe, and my big concern was the Wickham Manor people and the fact that their backyard, they have a pool, I think, that is around that area when I walked by and everything, checked it out. And so my big problem was whether or not they would be amenable to the thing, to this particular development. But go ahead.
Well, I wanted to make a motion, we have it on the 4th.
March 4th,
Yeah,
Can I second that?
special meeting?
yeah, the special meeting, yeah, so we have a motion in the second.
It's Environmental Commission that night,
The Monday, the 4th.
Environmental Commission.
Which is, what day is that?
Can't do
Monday?
it.
It's a Monday.
Okay, no, can't.
It's a Monday?
Can't do that?
I'm also not available.
Okay.
The other
Well, let's just
Monday, I
pick a
have
date, and
another.
then, you know, because we could talk
What about the
later about it.
Tuesday, the 5th? I know that's an off. You usually have your meetings on the Monday.
Tuesday be
Yeah,
all right?
Tuesdays are bad for me.
Okay.
It's not good for Chris, right?
What's a good, other than Monday, what's a good day, Tom?
Are you-
Well, I'm okay on the Monday the 18th, but Chris isn't.
Monday the
Well, if the
18th.
majority of the council can make it, then that's what we do.
We can do it Wednesday, this week.
My other question too, Fred, is that, isn't there a possibility that we may have more than one meeting? I mean, we'd like to do it in one
Yes,
meeting,
it's
but
totally at the council discretion. If you would like to conduct more than one meeting, you certainly can have several, especially if at the first meeting, there are people who potentially haven't had the opportunity to be heard.
Okay with it.
You'll have to judge that as you move forward, whether you want to have more than one.
It's Monday the 20th, can I
what
change
about the
my
26th?
Monday the 25th.
25th?
I mean, March the 25th.
March 25th, I'm okay with that. Chris is too.
And what day is that?
It's a Monday. It's a-
March 25th is Monday, regular council meeting.
That's a regular meeting.
Do we want to start early that day and have it start at 7, so we can have the public meeting, we have the comments at 7 to 8, and then go to our meeting at 8 o'clock?
I don't know if that's.
I think that's putting it off way too far.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Let's take a vote on it. Want to take you make a motion for,
I'll make a motion for the 25th.
and I'll second it.
25th of
Motion?
what?
Can we vote?
March 5th is a
We
March
can do the 25th.
regular meeting.
So there's a motion on the
Okay,
table now for
Okay.
this to take place on Monday, March the 25th, as part of your regular meeting,
Yes,
okay, as opposed to starting early.
yes, but I personally, if you guys want me to vote for this, we're going to have to do a notice to the entire town.
I'm curious why you want to hold it on a regular meeting.
Well, no,
Because that's what we'd like to
I'm
do.
curious, though,
Well, I was trying to work with
what is your rationale? We just want to concentrate on the rezoning.
understood, but I would like to Chris to.
What is your
It's fine.
rationale for holding on a regular meeting?
Mayor, my rationale is that
Most people know
my
that.
schedule, I revolve the schedule around these meetings. I can make the meeting, but I'm
My
not saying
schedule
we
is
have
best,
to do it.
that's
I thought it
for
would
my
be-
schedule.
I thought it would be-
Perhaps
I
if
thought
you're
it might be
gonna,
easier because we're already scheduled, everyone's
Right.
already scheduled to be here.
I agree.
Everyone knows we're here.
It's
That's all.
easier for me, it's much
It
easier.
doesn't have to be on that day.
I'm okay with the Wednesday night if you want to pick a Wednesday night.
and perhaps what you could do is if you are gonna do it on the night of a regular meeting, knowing this far in advance that that's going to take place on that regular meeting night, is that you could try to keep all the other regular business to an absolute minimum that night.
Right.
And
So we
focus
already have a
most of the
motion
meeting
and
on
we
this.
got a second, so are we gonna vote for it or what?
Well, if discussion is finished, you can
Jim
certainly.
has something
We have
to
a,
say.
we have a motion and a second.
No, it's-
Jim, did you have something?
My vote's no, but I'm not available for that day.
Well, I want everybody
When
here.
when are we getting into the
I'm
Easter
on vacation
holiday?
that day.
Let's all try to get everybody here, and we don't have to be adversarial. We'll just work on
Okay, let's look at April.
Oh,
Let's
I'm
look at
okay.
April.
What about August?
March isn't good for me, so April?
I'm available in August.
Well, what about February? What's
Oh,
wrong
no,
with
February's not good for me. So, April? We don't have an April calendar up here.
Yeah, I frankly had not anticipated it going that far.
That far,
but,
No, I think that's way
Yeah,
too
I
far.
mean, you do have a motion and a second on the table for Monday, March 25th, so would you like to
I'll
move
rescind, if I can rescind that, because I want everybody here. I
And
want.
plus, we also don't know what Rich's availability is, and Rich is not here tonight.
How about March 6th?
March 6th, I could probably do March 6th.
We do about the 6th, Wednesday.
I mean, I think we should wait until we make sure, I mean, Rich is our representative from the planning board as well.
Okay. You want to talk about it till we-
So what, the possible dates would be what, the 5th or the 6th?
The 6th?
6th? All right, well, we won't take a vote on it.
Okay.
Well, we'll check.
Can you
with-
vote
we'll check
on,
with
what,
Mr.
March
Devlin.
25th?
No, the 6th.
6th of March.
Wait, March 25th or March 26th?
Mayor's talking about the.
March 6th.
March 6th, I rescinded it.
Oh, I don't think I
Oh,
can.
Jim can't
Jim
make
can.
it. Jim
I can't
be on
make
the
March
25th.
6th.
Okay.
I thought we were talking about March 25th.
I think maybe what we should do is come up with a list of dates, each individually, that is gonna be okay. We have to see if, when Rich is gonna be available, and then we should funnel it through Jay and come up with a common date that's also gonna agree with Fred.
We'll talk about it next week.
I think we should concentrate on early March.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, I would like to see everybody here. That's-
Yeah, so we already have a first and a second for March 25th. Do you want to take a vote on it, or?
No, he
Well, Jim,
rescinded it.
yeah, Jim can't be
To be
here.
fair, I rescinded it, so.
Oh, okay.
So we're going for a Tuesday or a Wednesday night?
I prefer not a Tuesday, but that's.
Okay,
that's
Wednesday.
me.
So Wednesday, say the 6th or the 13th,
Yeah.
or even the 20th. We'll check with Rich, see when he's available. All right?
Well, no, I'm not okay with that because I'm not going to be here.
On
I
any of
said
these
March
dates?
6th.
Any of these dates? 6th, 13th, 20th?
No, 13th, 20th to 27th.
6th you'll be here.
No, I just said, did I not just say that I wasn't available on the 6th?
Relax.
Or are you,
So you'll be,
okay, so
when you
you're
going on?
saying the 13th, the 20th, or the 27th?
Planning board's 27th, forget that.
Okay, so the 13th or the 20th? I don't know why that's such a big problem.
Well, we don't know how many people are gonna be in the audience, number one. We don't know how long they would like to speak. If you're gonna hold it an hour before the meeting, it could be a 2 or 3 hour meeting for all we know.
I have
No,
no
it's
problem
not.
with the public. I think that it's
I don't have
actually
a problem
better.
with it either, but I don't want it to run into the
Look, I'm just
regular
trying to
meeting.
say, Mr. Mayor, I'm trying to say that I
You
think
told
it's
me
better
that.
that it's on a regular public meeting night because a lot of people already know about the regular public meeting. And others can get notified, hopefully people will come. I would like as many people notified and be able to come. A lot of people already know about when our regular meetings are.
And given the fact that everybody has other obligations on other nights, but everybody, for the most part, has diaried those particular nights on their calendars for the year,
Right.
perhaps it is best to stick to a regular meeting night so that,
Yes, but can we not clear our agenda? So
You
that this
can.
is the only thing we talk about? I mean, is that so hard?
yes, you can do that,
Is it
and then
so
just
hard
keep,
to understand and clear the
any other
agenda?
business you can
so.
keep
The only
to
thing we
essential,
talk
just
about-
essential business, like
And
bill
we,
lists.
the public already knows we need, a few of the public, I'm not saying a lot, but
A lot do.
a few of the public know that we already need this night. And I think that's the way to go, and I think
Okay.
it's,
So it seems like just picking which regular meeting night is the best night to conduct this open public forum, and you can either come to that determination this evening or do what Council President King had suggested and have everybody email their suggestions to Jay and then make a public announcement at the next council meeting, depending on whether you want to get it scheduled right away or do it at the next meeting.
But we want to get an agreement on the council. So if everyone's fine with the 25th, could you feel more people will be here? That's okay.
And we'll
absolutely.
clear the schedule just
Well,
to talk.
yes.
But the problem, Butch, is that we have one council member missing. You know, Rich is not here. He's
But respectfully, it is a council meeting night, so I would imagine that he probably already has that on his calendar.
Well, yeah, but he's not here tonight, and I think he needs to have a heads up.
Okay, so Patty, your suggestion
Should I make a
is
motion
taken under-
should I make a motion for March 25th?
Maybe I'll second that.
Okay, let's vote on it.
Time, are we gonna hold it at the regular time, or are we gonna start early?
Regular time,
March
8 o'clock.
I would suggest, since you're
We're
going to
clear the
potentially
agenda?
spend a considerable amount of time on this.
You're making that motion. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, Jim?
Jim's not available. No?
Let's do it the first Monday in
Vacation.
April.
Okay, I'm okay with pushing it off. You want to do it in April?
No, I think
I
that's
can't do
entirely
it
too long
first.
for
I don't
these
think I can
people
do it
to
the
wait
first.
to have any kind of a session to discuss this matter.
Well, what about the 11th then? Anybody make the 11th? That would be, what, 3 weeks? March 11th?
Yeah.
11th?
March 11th?
March 11th?
Everybody?
That's better?
It's a regular meeting,
What
yeah.
is it?
March 11th?
No, no, no,
Why not?
not March 11th.
Why not?
No, I was saying the,
Jim's not available March 25th.
no, April, let's push it off to April.
That's too
What
far.
is it, April
April
8th?
8th will be the first.
April 8th. I'll make a motion for April 8th. Anybody will second that?
I'll second it.
Chris, are you ready? Are you
Is it good for you?
okay with April?
Yeah, that's our regular meeting.
It's regular
Yeah.
meeting.
Are you here in town?
I am in town.
Oh my God, I may not be in town April 8th. I'm not in town April 8th right now.
Okay, you're out of town.
No, I'm not gonna be here April 8th. I'm gonna be in Connecticut April 8th. All right,
So what
so,
about March 11th?
and I won't be here the
Still
next,
deciding.
so. it will
March
be-
11th. Decide, chief, March 11th, everybody's available.
No,
March 11th.
no, March 25th. We already
You
did.
just motion to second.
Yeah, we
Jim's
have to
not
make a
there.
vote on March
But
25th.
Jim's not here yet.
I did a
Let's
first
make
and a
it-
second for March 25th. Can we take a vote on that?
Mayor calls for the vote after
Are you
discussion.
available March 11th?
No, I'm not. I just.
Let's have a vote on March
For
11th.
March 25th.
Let's have a vote on March 11th. I'm
Okay,
available
well,
that day.
okay. No, March 11th. Right?
Are you available?
You want to have a vote on March 11th? We'll have a vote on March 11th.
Are you here the 20th?
It's either the 11th or the
Vote on
25th.
March 11th?
Don't talk.
How's the 20th?
I went March 25th.
How about Wednesday the 20th?
Hmm?
How about the 20th? You here the 20th? Wednesday.
Do a regular meeting.
You're available anytime, but 25th, Jim?
I think we need to be concerned about Easter week. When is Easter week? Because then you're gonna have schools out, you're gonna have people on vacation, you're gonna have inconvenience.
31st.
I'm sorry, when is it?
31st.
31st.
Thank
31st is
you.
Easter.
You're welcome.
So that have to be before that. Thank you.
Easter.
That's Easter.
Right.
So it's possible people will be away the week before that, correct?
Weekend.
Week after, a week before?
Should be a holiday.
So we have a date here, somewhere between the 11th and the 20th, maybe?
Mayor, I have attempted to maintain some sort of a log of who was available when. My notes, so far, I haven't heard anyone say that they are not available on March 11th.
That's what I believe.
But but there hasn't been a motion to that effect.
Well, let me check with Miss Cynthia. Mrs. Cynthia. Miss Cynthia.
We're doing March 20th, we'll do it March 20th. I'm just saying that I'd rather do the regular meeting on the 20th.
You're not available.
Any day but the 25th, right? Tom, you're available Wednesdays, correct?
Wednesdays are typically good, so yeah, I'm okay with it.
I think that you still have a motion though on the table for the 25th, if I'm not mistaken.
But
So
you know what, too, that's the day after Palm Sunday. What if some of the schools are gonna be out that week?
I
and
understand.
some
What I'm
of them-
suggesting is before you take a vote on another date, someone would have to withdraw their motion.
I believe Tom.
I thought Tom.
I thought Tom did.
You did the first time, but then it was resurrected.
I think everybody's here the 20th. I'm hearing everybody here.
20th, you want to say 20th? Yeah.
It sounds like everybody's here then.
Yeah, we're,
Is everybody here on the
20th is
20th?
okay?
20th, Jim?
20th is okay, all right, I'll make a motion for the 20th.
Well, first, I think, Councilwoman Cindy, you had moved for March 20th, so could you withdraw that motion if, in fact, you'd like to move a different date?
Let's just push it off until the mid-April, I'm fine.
Do this year.
April's budget time. April's budget time. Or don't we generally vote on the budget in April?
Yeah.
We usually start the budget in March.
Yeah, but you don't vote until the end of April. So, I
Right.
mean, April's budget time. You
Yep.
have a full budget swing.
Yep. Very bad months to do anything.
13th or the 20th.
13th or 20th, Chris?
Be better.
20th, okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with the 20th.
Okay, 20th?
We're okay.
So,
I'm okay.
so, did you I'm sorry, did you rescind the other motion, Tom?
It wasn't my motion, I think I said.
It was Councilwoman Cindy's motion.
Did you rescind it?
I don't rescind anything. You rescind.
Councilman Cynthia?
Yes, I'm good for the
Did you
20th.
rescind that motion? Did you rescind the 25th?
I think I did already.
If you will just
You asked?
do that for the
Yeah,
record, then,
Yes, I will
okay.
send the 20th.
Thank you. And
Now, you're free to move forward with a new date if anyone would like to propose a new
Is
date.
the 20th good for everybody?
Yes.
I'll make that motion that we do it on the 20th.
I'll second it.
You have a second? Second, for that? And that would be at 7 or 8?
7's okay.
7, okay. Any other question on the meeting time or date? All right, roll call, Jay.
Okay, this is on the motion to schedule a special meeting for Wednesday, March 20th at 7 PM. Mrs. Cynthia,
Yes?
Mrs. King,
No,
Mr. Schuler,
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin,
Yes.
Mr. Vorbach.
Yes.
That's 4 affirmative votes, 1 negative vote. So we will schedule the meeting for Wednesday, March 20th, 7 PM.
And you will notify.
Well, the question is the notice going townwide? That hasn't
No.
been resolved yet, or is it just going to those that are shown?
The
no.
notice cannot go townwide.
Can I make a
Only-
motion
excuse
for
me.
townwide notification?
Excuse me. Excuse me. The notice will be for the green affected area, Jay.
Well,
Can I make a motion? for
Mayor,
townwide
that
notification?
will be something that the council will need to decide. So if
So,
Councilwoman
can I make a
Cynthia would like
motion
to move
for
and she
townwide
gets a second
notification?
and a majority, then it will be a townwide mailing. It's a council decision.
We can make the notice townwide, but we have to do it reasonable.
Mayor, couldn't we do things like where a lot of people are on the emergency broadcast, could we use that?
Yes.
We could do the
sign.
We could do the emergency broadcast.
And the newspaper, Co-Star.
It's $1,000 to do a townwide notification, $1,000. That's it. We should do a townwide notification. People may not want to come. People may not care. But we should do a townwide notification of the meeting regarding changing of
I don't disagree
and
with you.
possibly a town
Right.
center.
I don't disagree with that at all, but in the event that that doesn't go through, I want to put forth ideas to get the notice out to a maximum amount of people if we cannot do it townwide. So that's why I'm bringing up these
I
other
don't think we
things.
have a problem, Chris. I think that the majority, would you vote for, I mean, how do you feel?
I mean, I'm in favor of a townwide notification, unless the counselor tells me that there's some reason why we shouldn't do townwide on this issue.
It's completely at the council's discretion. If you feel that you would get the word out sufficiently by advertising in the Co-Star and putting a notice on the board out in front of the school and trying to get the word out through other means such as the emergency notification, you can go that route. Or if the council would like to expend the funds to actually send a notice out to every residence in Spring Lake Heights, you control the finances, you can make that decision.
Yeah, my question is, for the people who don't reside here in the winter, okay, they may be residing out of state. If you do a townwide notification, does the notification go to their Spring Lake Heights address, or to wherever they're, I guess it would be if they're forwarding their mail, it would go to them in Florida, so they have a notice that this is happening, right?
Well, Jay, were you going to comment on that?
Yeah, I was just going to comment that the access that we have, information, is the address that's provided by property owners for their tax and utility billing.
Yeah.
So whatever address we show on those records, and if they have
Okay.
forwarded it, then they may receive it.
Okay, now I know something, I might not fly back from Florida for this. Probably would not. But they may wish to forward comments.
Yeah, or they may ask their neighbors to go and make a comment on their behalf.
Well, I would rather have townwide notification rather than a select few. I feel that, that the development they're talking about affects the entire community, one way or another, whether you're for or whether you're against. Whether or not the traffic, you're gonna be upset about the traffic or you're not. And so therefore I don't think that this green area is sufficient. I think there's a lot of people on the other side of 71 that are pretty close that might also want to be involved in the notification, and so I would like to make a motion for townwide notification.
Just be aware that Chris recommended we could go on the SWIFT reverse call. You could go on the bulletin board.
But that's not, it's not.
You can advertise in the Co-Star.
Before you
And
continue
you
any
can
further
have word of
discussion,
mouth, it doesn't
Mayor,
cost you anything.
Mayor, at this point, we have a motion, but I haven't heard a second. So does anybody wish to
I
second
don't understand why people are against this. It's
Ms. Cynthia's
$1,000.
motion to
Yeah,
do a townwide mailing?
I'll second it, because I'm not against it, okay? And I do think we need to get the maximum participation, but I'm not married to one method of doing that, but I'll second the motion, because this is democracy, so let's vote on it.
Absolutely.
But remember, when you vote on it, you're also voting to spend $1,000 of taxpayers' money.
It's for notification that they should have.
That we
that
have
they're
other ways-
changing the footprint
That
of
we
the
have
town.
other ways of notifying the residents.
We are changing the footprint of the town, and I think that the entire community should be aware about it, aware of it, and have a say in it.
Okay, so there's been a motion and a second to do a townwide mailing with regard to the special meeting that's now been scheduled for Wednesday, March 20th at 7 p.m. So unless there's any further discussion amongst the council, then a vote should be taken.
Any further discussion?
Is the major concern the cost? I just want to understand all the sides.
Well, cost is always an issue, Chris. And if there's other ways you can get around it, of course, I would like to do it.
Yeah, I mean, so, on one hand, it costs a little bit of money, on the other hand, it is a rather important issue, so I think it's good that we go on it.
Anything else? Roll call, Jay.
Mrs. Cynthia?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
No.
Mr. Schuler?
No.
Mr. Tinkin?
Yes.
Mr. Vorbach?
Yes.
3 affirmative, 2 negative votes. And Mayor, not to belabor this point, but now that we've decided on the date, the notice, the contents of the notice, it would be my recommendation that we have a draft ordinance that has been proposed, whether you want to include that information with the distribution of the notice.
I think it's a good idea.
I think it should.
That might take another meeting.
Draft. Make sure it's stands.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But I just wanted to make that point that that would be my recommendation, and that we include that
It may
information.
take till April to get that.
Mayor, since we are mailing it to everybody in town, and we potentially have a large crowd,
Yes.
is it possible to have it at the school auditorium?
Well, we'll see who shows up, and you have to walk over there.
No, Mayor, I think that
School.
under the circumstances, Mayor, under the circumstances, given that you're doing a townwide mailing, I think you can anticipate that there's going to be a large turnout, and I would recommend that you consider rescheduling that meeting to a larger venue for that evening.
Which would be the school. So we would have to,
I'd have to reschedule.
no. Jay, we have to notify the school. that-
Yeah, I will make the request to the school, the availability of the facility on that night, and I'm hopeful that there will not be a conflict and we won't have to revisit this issue.
Okay, thank you.
I'm hopeful, not confident.
We don't inspire confidence.
That was it for my report. Mr. Timken, you have a report?
I think I'm okay tonight, thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Mr. Vorback?
No, most of it, Mayor.
Cynthia? Ms. King?
I would just like to read a couple of thank yous that the police department got. Spring Lake Heights Police Department, thank you so much for coming to our assistance last Monday when my mom, Peggy, had a stroke. Words cannot express our gratitude to Officer Gunnell and Ramp. It is so wonderful to live in a small town where there is this level of caring and community service. This other letter is quite lengthy, so I'm just going to brief it. A resident in Fairway Mews wrote a letter thanking, I believe it was Ken Hager, yes, Kenneth Hager, for assisting in a first aid call at their residence. The husband was transported to Jersey Shore. Fortunately, everything turned out okay, and she just said thank you from us for our wonderful staff of dedicated officers whom we have met over the years. All are fine examples, but Ken Hager's concern prompted us to write. So I just wanted to let you know that nice things are said on occasion. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Schuler?
No, nothing.
Thank you. Yes, we do have a very fine police department.
And Mayor, if I may, just, at a previous meeting, there was a question that had been raised from the public concerning a sign at Route 71 and Alaire Road, and there had been some concern that had recently been installed, a no turn on red. Upon review, it was determined that the sign had simply been rotated, and instead of applying to no turn on red from Alaire onto Route 71, it actually is for northbound traffic on Route 71, no turn on, no right on red onto, well, would be, I guess, Ludlow to that area.
Okay, yes.
So that mystery is solved.
Thank you. Mystery solved.
And it involved no communication with the state or the county.
Just rotate it back. Okay.
This is my side.
Then we have the police department report, the municipal court report, and the borough Spring Lake ordinance in our packet as well. No ordinance introduction tonight, but we do have some resolutions. First resolution would be R 2013-31, that's the revised resolution.
Actually,
Or-
32 is the revised. 31 is just the tax refunds.
31 is revised, correct?
32 is.
32,
Oh, I'm sorry. My mistake.
R 2012-32. That's the itemized bill list. We'll hold that for later, Jay. I'm sorry. This would be resolution R 2013-31. Need a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
This is for the tax refunds overpayment.
Yeah, I'll make the second.
Any questions on that?
This is pretty straightforward, Mayor. They just say to the money back, right?
Yes. I guess their money back.
I'm all in favor of giving people the money back. Okay. Good.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cynthia?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin?
Yes.
Mr. Vorbach?
Yes.
Thank you. Now should I do the Recreation Committee resolution first, Jay?
Why don't we do that last, Mayor, since we will assign that number 34, that way we can do them in order.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion to move the bills to the Finance Committee.
I'll make that motion.
The revised.
No, we're not doing the revising, we're doing
No, not yet.
the bills. Move the bills.
Bills list, Jim, I'm sorry.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any questions on the bills list?
This is actually to, the motion to move the bills to the
To
Finance Committee.
Finance. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cynthia?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin?
Yes.
Mr. Vorbach?
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution R 2013-32. This is, correct me if I'm wrong, the revised.
That's correct, Mayor. And as you've noted, this is one revision, an item on page 3 in the amount of $2,595.50 has been removed, and the appropriate totals and subtotals on the bill list have been revised downward to reflect that.
Okay, thank you. Need a motion and a...
Wait. What's this change? Where's the change?
The change one.
Page 3, the item
Okay,
identified
okay,
as
all right.
JOHNT010.
I'll make that motion.
All right, I'm good. Yes. You didn't call my name yet, but I'm a yes.
Need a second.
I'll second.
Second.
Any questions? A roll call, Jay.
Mrs. Cynthia?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin?
Yes.
Mr. Vorbach?
Yes.
This is consent resolution R 2013-33 with raffle license. Need a motion and a second.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any questions on the raffles? Roll call, Jay.
Mrs. Cynthia?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin?
Yes.
Mr. Vorbach?
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution R 2013-34. This is creating a Recreation Advisory Committee.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call, Jay.
Mrs. Cynthia?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin?
Yes.
Mr. Vorbach?
Yes.
This is Councilman Timken and Councilman Schuler. Good luck with it. At this time, this is time of the meeting where the second voice of the public, you may speak on any item you like. You step forward and give your name and address.
Sharon Beto, Beverly Avenue. First, want to thank the council for giving us a date for this public discussion of the possible rezoning of said property. I just hope that you'll also consider that we may need more than one discussion because there's an awful lot of things to consider. A lot of people, and I know this for a fact, are not aware of what might happen in their own backyard. So, and this will give them, I hope that they get tons of notice and everybody shows up. And maybe only then, once they educate themselves, will they have an idea? People need time to mull this over and think about it and look at all sides of the situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Seeing no hands, I need a motion to close the voice of the public.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We do have to approve the minutes for the 2013 reorganization meeting.
And Mayor, those were distributed late. I know council have not had a chance to review them. If you want to just carry that to our next meeting.
No, I don't. Anyone need to carry this forward, or?
I can't vote for it.
We'll go ahead and vote, check.
I haven't read it.
I was a fast reader. I think we'll do it. Okay.
Council's choice.
I need a motion to approve the reorganization meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion.
You have a second?
Second.
Any questions on the minutes? Roll call, Jeff?
Mrs. Cindy,
Abstain?
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Schuler,
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin,
Yes.
Mr. Vorbach.
I'll abstain as well.
Thank you. Need a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
Before we adjourn, Mayor, I would just like to say that, I know we've set this date, but, I'm gonna start physical therapy, and as far as I know, I'm gonna be going on Mondays, Wednesday evenings, and Friday nights, so the 20th will not be good for me, and I wanna make that a matter of record. I also do not think it's appropriate to set a date when we don't have the full council here, and Mr. Diver is not in attendance, and since we have picked a date outside of the norm, I'm hoping that, you know, he will not have an issue with that as well.
We can make it in April.
Okay. I'm sorry. What if, say, we do have two council members that did not make the meeting?
Well, you can always decide at a future date to reschedule to a later date, or you could have one public meeting on that date and then schedule another one on another date when other council members can be there and see if they can listen to the tape of the session that they missed. I'm just trying to offer alternatives.
I mean, why didn't we just do it on the 26th, and we'll do another one later in April?
Mayor, before we go, I just want to thank Mr. Schuler. The Falkenberg tree experts were out at the Lair Park. They started the cleanup. I talked to the Little League. They're happy. Half the trees have been removed. And it looks like Falkenberg might even get that done before March 1st. So thank you very much.
Yes.
Can I make a motion to close?
Yeah, and I'll second it.
All in favor?